Is it weird to say that I really like my own intro? I really like it.
It's good. It's
I'm
really
very
good.
critical of my own work, and I really like that one. What's up, colleagues? Tory, I don't know if you were in the room yet, but just want to say that ELC said that he was first to hit the like button today. So I said he's the like champ for the day. Like, wear that belt, champ.
Good job.
I want it to be like become like a big thing where like there are factions that split within the colleagues, and there's issues like we don't talk to ELC and his people. They've been cheating and they know it. Yes.
Oh man.
Before we came on, Tori, I always like to catch up with you, but Julia was saying something, and she was just like, "There's so much going on in every news cycle that it really just hit me that as I read her saying that, I was looking up information about this Border Patrol shooting that just happened. We had our story set. I then told Michael Dean I wanted to get something in by Megan, also by Megan Kelly. Then on top, so we added a story after our stories were set, and now 2 minutes before the few minutes before the show, we're also trying to find information about another story. Is this? I know they say that this is the point, but is it the? Do you really think that this is controlled, or do you think it's out of control?
Out of control. Out of control. I think we're on a roller coaster that lost its tracks, and it's very I think what Trump likes, that kind of chaos, but something that the American people are, even Republicans are having trouble with at this point.
It's like it's overwhelming, and I've said it before, and I said it again. Maybe I even said it on DBL when I got the feeling that I was like, I think they're about to vote for this dude again. And I remember just thinking, I just don't want to think about him all the time. Say what you want about Sleepy Joe, but he was sleepy. He was all over. Grandpa was upstairs. We were living our lives. We weren't blocking family members and former love interests because they posted something insane. Like life was just like ours to make our own. And now everything is just like, before we go on a date, I need to know where you stand. And kind of you do.
Yeah.
The
lines have been drawn in the sand. And when we're this polarized, it's not great for our mental health. Our brains were not meant to not only have this amount of information, but to have it this fast, this constant, this changing, this angry. It can turn on you guys. And if some people will watch the news constantly and get addicted to this, it's not good for you. It's not. I know we don't want to be silent, but there needs to be breaks, and you need to come back and regulate your nervous system, and you need to figure out how to calm yourself down so that you're not a walking rage machine all the time. Because that's what this can turn into. Yeah.
It's weird that addiction can kind of go both ways. There's like, I don't drink, but I don't mention it. If somebody wants help, sure. But if not, I'll never mention it. But there's also people that do get sober or something, and that's all they talk about. And they have only sober friends now. And it's like, so your addiction can almost like translate. So you can be like addicted to being in the Trump cult, but you can also be addicted to being anti-Trump. And you find yourself scrolling and looking for people you disagree with to comment. And that's also not healthy.
Totally agree. There's a Pema Chodron, my Buddhist teacher that I listened to. She said someone saw a protest between two people, and they said the same angry faces on both sides. And it's the same anger and rage. Now, we think we're doing the right thing on our side. So does the majority of the country. But you don't want to be clinging to this disaster. You want to be fighting and then keeping yourself regulated, hydrated, eating well, moving, walking, get out. But I think we're all just going to be excited when he's out of the news. It is a tornado that just hovers. It hovers all the time. So we're in fight or flight constantly. But yeah, there was it's exhausting. It's exhausting.
Yeah, it's exhausting, but you do have to tell yourself, and I do like that you're getting in the mode, and you're getting me in the mode of just like, this has to end one day. And I do think the swing back might be kind of fun, Tori. I think we have been in the only date online, only go to restaurants that were suggested by TikTokers, only talk about politics when you're out trying to socialize. And I think hopefully enough of us will burn out where they're like, I'm going to get offline and go meet somebody at the laundromat. You know, you never know. You might be sitting next to somebody super cute that's washing their linens. You never know. Like you might stumble upon a really dope restaurant that you didn't see online. I think the world is happening out there, and the irony that we're talking about this online right now is staggering.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, after this, yeah, go out and experience life a little bit. Life used to be really, really fun.
Yeah, and it still can be. It's just that we have to, and in times of need like this, like today is International Holocaust Remembrance Day. And there's a reason we remember. There's a reason this is the last generation of Holocaust survivors. And so we will have to be the witnesses that heard and saw from our elders, because they're all dying out, what the Holocaust was. But the main saying when a Jew or anyone talks about the Holocaust is, we will remember, we will bear witness, because to forget is to leave all those lives being killed and tortured in vain. And so there is a sense that you have to stand up for what you want and be a witness, but you also have to live a life as well. So try and find a balance if you guys can.
And I think we do a pretty good job of that. By the way, to toot our horn, I was thinking, Tory, I was thinking about you today, and I was just laughing about how much fun I had with you and Mo when you guys came over and were watching the game, just because. And I talk about this a little bit in my act, but I always try and make sure, because I never wanted like a misogynist to be like, yeah, women see, but I talk about like the different things that women see in a football game that like me and my friends never do. And just, we were watching the game and you just go, running never works. and like, it doesn't work a lot. I mean, it makes, what you're saying makes sense. Now you kind of have to do it for the game and you'll get your wide receivers killed. But just, I could see like somebody that's like warming up to the game being like, I got just ran into the pile again. I drove over here for this.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah,
I was like, running never works. But yeah, I think Michael Dean's right. It's really hard to regulate emotionally after, look, we've saw a murderer twice on live TV over and over and over and over again. 2 people killed, shot, and we're just supposed to kind of go about the day. That's not normal. That's just super not normal. And it's
well, yeah, Tory, that happened. That was, I believe, last Friday, and the comics and I were in the green room, like, we are all about to go on stage. And I was talking to David, who's the owner of the Fort Collins, of the Comedy Fort in Fort Collins. He's also an amazing stand-up, and he's super organized. I hate him for that. But he, I was talking with him about being an entertainer and having this weird guilt of, do we talk about the thing that everybody's thinking about?
right.
Or did they come to the stand-up show
To
for
get
2
out.
hours to not hear about that?
Right.
So
Right.
are you a fraud to like not talk about that? Or do you do your act? Do you do what you love to do, which is doing stand-up? So
Right.
it's even as entertainers. And then when we got off stage, we were like, it's so weird that we were all in the same room, 4 nearly sold out shows.
Nice.
And, we all kind of, for an hour and a half, even though we collectively, like you said, had seen somebody murdered, 2 people murdered in the last 2 weeks, we're like, we at least are going to be humans for an hour and a half. And if you think about, before we get into our first story, that's kind of what The Walking Dead was about. Like,
Yeah, that's a
because
good point.
after you got away from the zombies and figured
still
out how to kill them, it's like the faction of human beings split. Some were like, okay, now we can assault women and take what we want. And other people like, no, we're going to set up an irrigation system.
Right.
We're going to have villages. We're
And
going to have
grow food.
hierarchy. Yeah, grow food,
Right.
bury our dead. And so that's kind of like, it's something, humanity is something you got to fight for. So,
Yes.
all right, Tory, with that said, let's get into the first story of the day. Let's do this. Because I think it's time that, Tory, we do a little moving on. Tory, we are moving on, and we could not move on without Vlad and them boys over at Spider Moving, our very first sponsor. They've come and they've gone, but Vlad and them boys have held us down. We appreciate them. Michael Dean, throw that phone number up there when you get a chance. Tory, I need you to read that because my voice is not as melodic as yours.
720-545-3187.
That's right. Hit him with it one more time, just so it make it sing to me.
545-3187.
All right. Or you sounded like a call girl at the end of her shift in 1992. She's smoking cigs. Yeah, you look good. I'm out of the shower. That's do you think that there are still phone sex lines?
For sure.
Really?
Yeah. I think jail. There's like a lot.
Well, they have me and my girl watch almost exclusively jail content. Love After Lockup, and they have like smartphones.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of that.
Yeah, I also saw a video about how those phones get in there. We'll leave it at that. Yeah, I'll send it to you. Tory, we have to move on. Obviously, don't worry, guys. We're going to get to the border shooting. But I told Michael Dean I wanted to sneak this in because I feel like we might be needing to move on from Megyn Kelly. Tory, I want to hear your thoughts on this little. Just some thoughts, Tory. So let's give him a listen.
I'm supposed to feel sorry for Alex Pretti, but I don't. Do you know why I wasn't shot by Border Patrol this weekend? Because I kept my ass inside and out of their operations. It's very simple. If I felt strongly enough about something the government was doing that I would go out and protest, I would do it peacefully on the sidewalk without interfering via a whistle, via shouting, via my body, via any other way. I would make my objections known by standing there without interfering, because interfering is where you go south. And laying hands on a police officer trying to, or Border Patrol officer or ICE officer trying to conduct a law enforcement operation is a felony. And now you are going to get arrested. And if you do anything that resembles resisting, you're in serious trouble.
She is a gem.
What a kind person. What a lovely woman.
I mean, well, she's fresh off the 14-year-olds. They be having some dope bodies, yo. I was like, are you out of your mind? Are you?
Like the hills she's dying on are pretty remarkable.
She's like, why isn't anybody else? If you were in a war and you were on one hill and you were by yourself, you'd be like, I can get off this hill.
Yeah.
I'll fight on another hill. There's other hills. There's a war going on.
She's just picking weird hills.
Tory, first of all, let me ask you this. Just looking at the 30,000 foot view, which argument is worse? The 15-year-olds are kind of hot, or Alex Pretti needs to learn how to protest? I mean, they're both
egregious.
They're like breathtaking. It's like seeing the statue of David for the first time. You're like, oh my, I can't believe you're real.
Like jaw dropping. None of this is going to age well for Megyn Kelly. If you guys didn't know,
it's not aging well currently.
Yeah, it doesn't happen right now. But she spoke about Epstein and how 14-year-olds were really almost 15 and things like that. And it wasn't really children. Meanwhile, she has a 14-year-old daughter, and we were all just appalled at that. What's very strange here is I guess just twisting. So the reason fascism occurred and was allowed to occur is because people didn't protest like that. And they didn't get in there, have whistles, and they didn't speak up, and they allowed it. And that's how fascism takes over, because the people allow it. The whole point, like the very first right we have, not like the 11th or like the 21st, the First Amendment that we have is that we're allowed to use, of course, whistles, shouting, protesting peacefully. And he didn't brandish the gun. He didn't pull out the gun. It was on his hip, removed by an ICE agent. He was not resisting. He was protecting a female protester from being pepper sprayed with his hand out. I don't understand if it was all Democrats and you were trying to protest them, would you stand silently and
That's what they did on January 6th.
Yeah. But apparently that's fine. It's a great point. So the Kyle Rittenhouses, the J6ers, the hypocrisy of these people is astounding of how they're twisting. And it's just, and now the Second Amendment rights. I mean, when the NRA is going against you as a Republican, saying this guy had a legal right to carry that gun, something's gone terribly wrong here. So
Right.
Megyn Kelly, not even Carolyn Levitt is making that argument. Not even Trump is
Nope.
making that
No.
argument.
No.
Kristi Noem, I mean, the people that we're really seeing, no one went that far to say that. And you know what? Charlie Kirk died. And I didn't like what Charlie Kirk had to say, but I still felt badly for the Kirk family and the Kirk people because he's a human being. So for her to say, I don't even feel bad for Pretti, so cold, ice cold. And no pun on that, but like, really, where is your empathy and sympathy and humanness? Like, and your constitutional values. Those seem to have gone as well.
Well, I'm going to address what you said. I'll address what you said last first. When you start talking about the constitutional values, and obviously Kash Patel was like, oh, he shouldn't have had a gun at a protest. And NRA was like, excuse me?
Yeah.
The reason they're kind of stepping on themselves, Tory, is because they're making stuff up as they go.
Yeah. She
And
seemed
eventually,
like
she just was like, you could see her trying to say he had the right to protest because she doesn't want to go after that. But then she had to weirdly put it. Yeah, she had to put these tight, like when you go to Disney World and you're like 5 and they put you on that train that's on a tight rail. They're like, you can protest, Tory. You protest by standing there silently.
I mean, when was that in the First Amendment? When is not? Yeah.
Wouldn't that be way creepier if you saw old footage of like women protesting for their rights, civil rights in the late 60s, and just people standing there and somebody goes, we want our freedom, and MLK is like, hey, pipe down.
Yeah, like, no, I have a dream, just like, I'm gonna stand here quietly.
Yeah, stop reaching in your pockets.
Yeah. And by the way, what do you think the founders did? What do you think the Boston Tea Party did? They protested loudly to get away from England. That was the whole point. So it's the most un-American thing you can say, the most unpatriotic thing you can say. And if anyone keeps bringing in the idea that he had a gun and that's a felony, you're incorrect. There's open carry in Minnesota. He had a license. He was allowed to go anywhere with that gun, and he didn't brandish it at anyone. We have eyes, and use your critical thinking. Use your critical thinking. Don't be in a cult and think, well, they said this. Just use your critical thinking. You're a human being seeing another human being peacefully protesting, legally carrying a firearm, get shot in the head 10 different times by 2 different officers. That's not right. And even as a Republican, you should see that. And that's what we're seeing, Al, with Bill Cassidy. We're starting to see this with people in Mark Cadell. Big donors and Republican congressmen are saying, slow down. We are going way too hard on this. There needs to be investigation. The federal judge in Minnesota has not only called for an investigation, he called for the head Todd Lyons, or I hope that's how I'm pronouncing it, Lyons, right, of ICE to come into his courtroom to explain why he's no longer paying attention or abiding by justice's orders. That's almost never done, but he wants him in his chambers. I mean, that's where we are now.
Tory, you brought that up. I'm so glad you did. Let's talk about that really quickly. You jumped ahead about 9 stories, but I love it. It's a perfect transition. It says judge demands answers. Was Minnesota targeted to punish sanctuary laws? A federal judge has ordered the Trump administration to address the claims that the Minnesota operation was designed to punish sanctuary laws, and has also demanded that Greg Bovino be in court to discuss said issues. So, Tory, what did you think about ICE boss Bovino, which sounds like a YouTube rapper that says some inflammatory things?
Yeah. So Bovino has been demoted. He has been now sent by Trump as response to an overwhelming response, even from the right, that this can't be continuing. So he is now being sent back to the border in his tiny little jacket that tries to be a Nazi cosplay. And he is no longer going to be in Minnesota. The judge wants Todd Lyons to come in and speak on behalf of ICE. He's in charge of the ICE people in Minnesota, and explain why he blatantly is ignoring judge's orders. So we've seen, as you said so well, a dial down on this, a retreat, a backup. Trump is now saying he wants to see an investigation happen. We would very much like the state to have some of this evidence.
Well, we
but
can at this point. All the evidence has been destroyed.
Totally agree. So I'm very encouraged to see Republicans having some spine and saying, this can't continue. This isn't what it's there for. Even a fellow on the New York Times front page, there's an ICE agent who worked for immigration saying, like, this has gone way too far. You're just causing, you're an 800-pound gorilla coming into the city. And they're there to calm things down. So what is the point? And eventually, when the polls get lower and lower, we're now at 63% of people thinking this is absolutely outrageous. Trump changes. He will change due to polling because all he cares about is approval. And so we're seeing a change. Carolyn Levitt saying we're no longer calling him a domestic terrorist. I mean, the poor Pretti family having to go through this. They did ask if they will eliminate Kristi Noem. Trump has said no. That was as of today, but the Democrats, as an update, have said they will continue to impeach Kristi Noem if he doesn't let her go. So there is somewhat of a standoff that's going to be happening here. And I think Trump knows he doesn't have the support or the legal or constitutional rights to continue what he's doing. So expect a backtrack here, folks. And that's what I'm hoping. What law has been ignored? Oh my God.
Yeah. So, I mean, but Tory, I think the interesting thing when you talk about Bovino or Kash Patel or Kristi Noem is for all the atrocities that the Bush administration carried out in the Middle East. Say what you want about Cheney, he was a sharp guy. You know, the people, Rumsfeld, that was a sharp team carrying out orders that or directives that I didn't agree with, but at least they were able to. They were kind of charming in front of the press. Rumsfeld was considered very attractive by a lot of people, like classically old school attractive, and he would have them laughing and being like, you know, even though they were committing all these atrocities, they were able to smooth things over with, you know, the press, and that in turn allows you to smooth things over with the public. What the problem with this administration has is the people that you have front and center are telling you that this woman with her partner and her dog is a domestic terrorist. This VA ICU nurse is a domestic terrorist. And the scenes in which both crimes were committed were not allowed to be canvassed or preserved. And nobody believes you anymore. Right. And they're not witty enough or charismatic to get around that, even if people did.
Right. It's not working anymore. It's just not working.
They're like jammed up on both folds. And Kristi Noem doesn't have what it takes to like talk herself out of any kind of impeachment hearing. I think, and I think a state attorney general could bring charges against either or both of those people. And, you know, I think I've said it before and I said it again, there's a saying, streets need a body. And it comes from like mafioso, whatever. It's like if somebody robs you, even if you get a guy that might not have been the guy that robbed you, you got to have somebody to show the rest of the people you can't be messed with. That the public is going to want accountability. They're going to want Noem. They're going to want to watch her on CNN and C-SPAN be deposed. And they're going to want the same for Bovino because they probably won't be able to get Trump because of his perceived immunity from the Supreme Court.
And I just want to say for Don, who's asked about what law. First of all, murder is a law that it happens. But again, the First Amendment of freedom of speech and freedom of assembly, the Fourth Amendment, which is unreasonable seizure without a warrant. And then the Fifth Amendment is you allow someone due process before you actually kill them. So I've listed 4 laws that they've broken. And at this point, even Trump saying there's an investigation that needs to happen, he even is acknowledging that laws could have been broken. So it's absurd to me that you see a murder with someone not resisting, with someone holding a phone, and you're like, what's wrong with that? That's not American. That's not what we do to human beings and citizens of this country. Or non-citizens. Even if a person is guilty, police don't get to shoot them and execute them. You go to court, there's a due process. And again, he was just protecting a woman who was being pepper sprayed. So there's so many laws that were broken here. But again, First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, murder, I could continue, but that's what I mean.
Right. And when they do bring people in that are accused of murder, and sometimes very credibly accused of murder, seen on security camera doing it, they still don't shoot them. Even on a lot of times, I'm sure they want to. You telling me that police officers that have to go get some, child unaliver and take him into custody, you're telling me those cops don't want to take his head off? That's human too. But we have laws. This isn't the old West. I mean, it's interesting how everybody is so punitive with somebody like this, I could care more or less about, but somebody like this, it's like, yeah, he should have died. Like, where was that smoke for Epstein?
Yeah.
Like, they had him in custody, and he had more freedom in custody than most of us do. He just had to go to jail to sleep. He was ordering seafood dinners in a jail along with women. He was allowed to leave jail 7 days a week under, what was that, Alex Acosta and Pam Bondi? Yeah, where's Pam Bondi at? Anyway, Jim Jordan oversaw an SA situation in Ohio State. Where's he at? Anyway, it seems like if you keep your mouth shut, Tory, the boss notices you and says that I like the what do you say, the hitch in that kid's giddy up?
I think it's the hitch in the giddy up.
Or is it maybe the hitch in the giddy up is like, that's a bad thing? Like, why do you have a sad face today, Tory? It looks like there's a hitch in your giddy up. I think it's a bad thing. No, cut of your jib. I like the cut of his jib. That's when you would say that if you were on a pirate ship in the early 1900s. All right, Tory, let's move on. We got lots to cover, girl. Tory, we teased it earlier. Remember we used to tease stories like coming up, Tory's Vibey Sports Picks. Now I'm like, we teased somebody being shot at the border. I'm not laughing, but you have to laugh at the absurdity of the world that we live in now. Somebody has been shot at the border. I know. I'll give you a second to gather your surprise there. A person was shot during an incident involving U.S. Border Patrol near Arivaca, Arizona, and is in critical condition. The FBI is investigating, and key details are still unclear. They're still so unclear. Like, I went to go find some details on ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is a lot like how I wish our government was. It was like, this is a new case. Don't even be asking me, bro. Don't put me out there like that. So there's really very few details. I will read just literally what Gemini said. But basically that a person has been shot, is in critical condition, and the FBI is investigating. But Tory, my thoughts are, what does the FBI's investigating mean now? What does that even mean to you? Like, I think that's worse. I want to do some Law and Order. Give me Jerry Orbach.
Sam Waterston.
Yeah, Ice-T.
I mean, Kash Patel, who's in charge, is someone I don't trust worth my spit. Is that the saying? I think as far as I can spit.
As far as you can spit.
Okay, as far as I can spit.
Or I've heard as far as you can throw them.
Okay.
As well,
maybe that's it. But yeah, the only people I'm starting to now rely on are state and local officials. So I think the FBI coming in, it's straight from Trump, it's straight from the government, it's federal. Once we get into the federal overseeing of this, I start to distrust any decision that they're going to make. So at this point, my only feeling is Arizona, the state itself, I would like an investigation. Now, twofold. One, because I don't trust the FBI under Kash Patel. And two, because anytime the FBI sees something and calls it a federal crime, Trump's pardoning them immediately. But you cannot pardon a state crime. So I really advocate for state and local officials to go to their judges and say, get a restraining order against the Department of Homeland Security, against
Think
FBI.
about the sentence you just said, Tory.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy?
Tory,
I don't trust.
Like, you know what else it does? It destroys every movie and show we've ever seen.
I know.
Because it used to be like the FBI's here and they go under the yellow tape. And they'd be like, local cops, go get us some lunch. We got this. And you'd be like, all right, the FBI is there.
Totally.
Yeah. And now you're like, oh, FBI's coming in with muddy shoes, grabbing shit. Yeah. I've never been this distrustful of the government. It appears like there is not any video footage that they know about, but you never know. Cameras are everywhere. But the unaliving of, what was the black man that was killed on New Year's Eve? There's no photos. There's no pictures of it. I'm sure somebody in the chat will have his name, but you know, we're assuming that he was also killed by an off-duty ICE officer. So nothing to see here. That left his home, left out of his house with his firearm. So you know what time it is. Tory, I'll be perfectly honest and give you a little editorial note, and Michael Dean as well. There's also a video that I did not want to bring on today just because it was so jarring. Maybe we'll do it a little bit, but I think maybe I was being selfish. But did you see the video that lawyer took that went to the ICE immigration facility?
Oh, of the children screaming?
Yes, the children and the mother screaming. Tory, how like I'm cold and I'm dead inside. There are just certain things where I'm like, oh, damn it. That one just like, colleagues, there are people, they're screaming.
Libertad. They're screaming to get out. They're screaming. It's horrific. And it reminds you of, and I don't like to compare the Holocaust to things like that, because as a Jew, the Holocaust,
I think it's about time, Tory.
As atrocity, right? But it just,
people rounded up for their ethnicity. I think that's a pretty on the nose comparison.
For their papers, and now we're hearing screaming and sobbing coming out of these gates. The one thing we don't have is video inside those detention centers. So although what we're seeing on the videos is horrific, how much worse is it inside the detention center where no cameras are allowed? We have to take them at their word. We have no idea what rights are being denied to those people. Some are U.S. citizens. So the idea that we don't even get to see video in there, but just hear screams is tragic. It's traumatizing.
Tory, like I've said over and over, when we find out about the amount of essays, the amount of assaults that are going on there, and like I've told y'all colleagues since day one, Tory's like, well, I don't want to compare this to I don't want to compare everything to the Holocaust. Tory, they just took Greg Bavino down, and he's dressed like an Nazi.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about? Why do we keep dancing? Think about, let's not lose track of like where these stories are. Remember 2 months ago when all those young Republican texts leaked, and all those texts were like, I love being a Nazi and hail, you know who. It seems pretty on the nose what is going on, how it was carried out, and how it's being, because since he started, this has been about race. The first thing Trump did in his second term was go after DEI. After everybody was like, oh, the eggs and the bacon, he didn't deal with that first. He didn't do anything. And after he got his racial agenda going, then he started taking care of the people that I believe took care of him. We start sending $40 billion checks to Argentina.
Mm-hmm.
Where they do that at?
Yeah.
What president have you ever heard doing that?
Well, he's a quid pro quo president. That's all he is transactional. And I do have to agree with you guys. As I said before, Nancy Hunter, I totally agree with you. The feds just tell lies upon lies. The state has to take control. That's the only way I'll trust a situation. The AG, Attorney General of Arizona, has said she's ready for this. They've been ready for a shooting in case this happens, and that they will try any federal law enforcement officer. But you need to be able to get to the evidence. And if you block them, like they DHS block them in Minnesota, it's it's contaminated. So then they go to judges, and judges order a restraining order against the feds, and they don't listen. So like there's no teacher, there's no adult, there's no enforcement. They get to do whatever they want. So that's called a constitutional crisis. I mean, that's where we're at.
And before we beat this to death, just speaking about evidence, I don't know if we were doing the show together or maybe it was a solo show I was doing, but when the Alex Pretti news just first dropped, and they were like, here's a picture. They were like, remember, they got to kind of set the first narrative before they knew there were so many cameras. And they were like, here's a picture of the weapon that he had. And I looked at that picture. I was like, I think that's BS. Just running that through 48 years of like seeing things, I was like, I think that's a stock image. You guys don't understand. I love to cut video. I have apps on my computers that have B-roll on them. I've seen B-roll that I have on my computer on commercials. And I thought I had seen that weapon. And sure enough, it comes out that if you Google that weapon, that exact same image of the weapon that they said Alex Pretti had comes up, sitting on the same like blue velvet kind of table. And it's just like when you see things and you're automatically calling BS and then it's backed up. I don't know how we get this train back on the track, Tory, because the distrust is real at this point.
And we have 3 more years, and I just don't know how that's sustainable. I honestly don't know how it's sustainable for the country, for our allies. He's pissed off Canada. He's pissed off everybody. And and now we're shooting our citizens and people in the street in broad daylight on camera, and then telling us don't believe what the videos show. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Talk about Orwellian. I mean,
that's something that David Koresh would have said.
Yeah, and Dwight D. Eisenhower, Al, very famously went himself to Auschwitz, and he went to Dachau, and he went to these camps. And you know why, Al? He said, so that nobody in the future could ever say this didn't happen, so that I'm documented here with them. Because as a witness, there'll be pictures, there'll be documentation. And he knew that in the future, they're going to say that. And he went there to stand there. And it's sad that that's what we have to do. But he knew. And that's what
Tory,
we have to do.
Speaking of Canada, just because you said it, what I did last night, because I'm a news junkie, is I watched an entire YouTube video about Canada preparing for a possible, not that we think it's likely, invasion from the United States. And there were real Canadian people saying, obviously, we can't match them blow for blow. They're practicing guerrilla war for Canada.
Yeah, I know.
The effing Toronto Raptors play up there. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he's pissing off our greatest allies, the ones that we have always been close with. It's like, we get that you don't have friends, Trump, but you have to make enemies of the friends that America has. Like, it's an insane way to do foreign policy.
Tory, maybe you don't know about the Board of Peace.
Yeah, I know.
Which was I was like, that collection of people is seriously like gonna be a wing in the Smithsonian of these dudes sucked. Like the leader of Belarus. I remember Albania. John Oliver had a Medvedinko or something. He had a segment on him like 5 years ago about how great, like they run real, like we keep calling this like an assumed authoritarian dictatorship. They run dictatorship.
Yeah, and they're on the Board of Peace. I mean, it's laughable if it isn't so scary, you know, because we're witnessing it now. We're witnessing the beginning of it, and it's like we're in this timeline. We're here. We're watching.
Right. That sounded like you could have cut that as a promo for DBL. We're here and we're watching. Thanks, America, and thanks, Channel 3. Yeah, it's super weird. I really think that they scooted up their timeline too much. I think their timeline with the 2 shootings, it was too close. It caused the way that you do authoritarianism is like you slowly start to, there's some troops over. Remember like how jarring it was post 9/11 when you go to the airport and you see 2 military guys there and you see like they'd have a long GUN and you'd be like, oh my, but then your 4th flight, you're like, oh, military's here. Good.
Yeah, it's called normalization. You get normalized to it. Totally.
And I think that's what they should have done. But I think that the human excrement that they hired to do their job, to do that job of ICE, could not contain themselves because they are the hate groups that we all thought they were. And they were too incapable of carrying out the fascist.
Well, they found tweets by the guy Evan Kilgore, who is the shooter of Pretti, and it's all like horrifically racist. He's there with Kyle Rittenhouse with his arm around him. He says horrible things about blacks, about Jews. He is like a neo-Nazi, N-A-Z-I. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but just what you thought he would be, he is. Like, he is. So just so you know.
And just a little side note, in the video game Mortal Kombat, there's a bad guy. He has 4 arms and he's gigantic. And his name is Kilgore.
Kilgore?
Yes, that's his absolute name. And we're going to move on after that. Tory just got up and left like an older family member where you're just like, look, grandpa is, he's doing his own thing. You have to make excuses in front of your kids. Your grandfather thought that was so funny. He had to go use the restroom.
Sorry, I have to plug in. I'm so sorry.
Why didn't you tell me? You just walked away.
So many coffee dates I've had.
Did I ever tell you the time I don't think I was living in Miami. I think I was down there partying with my boy Aud, and we went to this diner because we were getting ready to go drink at some nightclub all night, and so we were just trying to get some food in us. And we were at the diner, and there were these two kind of like scruffy looking older guys that looked like they had some money and probably had purchased some friendship for the night, companionship. I don't think they were working girls, but I think that there was an agreement that we would hang tonight. And so we're at the diner and we're just looking like, wow, those two fine girls with those two guys. And the girls went to go use the restroom, and we're just eating, not thinking about it. And then I just hear one of the guys go, I don't think they're coming back, dude. The girls just walked right out the back door. I'm sure money in hand. Like, you guys wait here. We're going to go get really sexy for you. Meet me at the club. Not telling you which one. Yeah, I just remember like the resignation was like, we should not have paid them up front.
Yeah, don't do it up front.
Yes. That was Miami. Many times I had friends coming up to me that were dancing with girls, and they'd be like, man, she's so hot. So weird. I don't know if she speaks. She keeps asking me to pay her rent. I don't know what's going on. I'd be like, oh.
We know.
Well, welcome, my tourist friends. Well, we are talking about Hollywood partying per se. Now, this person, Tory, got herself in some trouble when she talked about how good her jeans were. My jeans are blue. We're talking about Sydney Sweeney, and I believe Michael Dean has some video footage for us because she did some stunt. I don't know. Here.
It's gonna start over here or there. You guys! I'm gonna get caught at this rate. Give her a bra, Sarah. Give her a bra. Just for that.
Boo.
This went over like a lead fucking balloon. Excuse my
First of all, what was not shown was the 48 people that they hired from Thumbtack to help them do that. You think that chick is climbing up on the Y of the Hollywood sign? First of all, Tory, what was that? Let me just read what Michael Dean sent. So, because I need some clarification. Reports say that Sydney Sweeney posted footage tied to an unauthorized Hollywood sign stunt, and the Chamber of Commerce is investigating. Ooh.
Not the Chamber of Commerce.
The Elks Club is right on our tail. Is this genius marketing for what, or reckless entitlement? Tory, what are your thoughts? I kind of tipped my hand.
So I was watching the chat as this was happening, and the first thing that came up was, hold on, fame thirsty ? It's like, did anyone go over this and think this would be, like, who thought this would be a good idea? Especially when you've been in sort of a PR nightmare.
I'd say so.
Yeah. Who asked for this? We get it. Your breasts are amazing. We all agree. They're stunning. But like, what is this helping? Is this for a movie? Are you just trespassing? Are you trying to cause problems? Like, this is a stunt that I could just feel it just dead on arrival. Michael Dean says she's launching her underwear line. Not the way to do it, boo. Not, in my opinion, not the way to do it.
First of all, if you're going to launch your underwear line, maybe show the underwear, not you using it to rappel up the side of a wall. What is this, Assassin's Creed? Like, it was such a weird thing. And like Tory, you said, like, oh, she has amazing breasts. Yes, people want to see those, not the thing that they came in.
And also,
a Rolls Royce. Can I see the garage? No, I want to see the car. What are you? Who is this for?
I agree. And also, you could have come up with such a better way to have Sydney Sweeney introduce her underwear line. You could have you could have done something really funny you could have just done something much more clever than this. And her being like happy about trespassing.
Tory, read what Black Asian is saying, because I
Black
think
Asian says
that's
her lingerie is being
interesting.
released with the help of Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sancho's Bezos. Oh, it might be on Amazon. It might be coming out, but yeah, like for instance, who said that? She could have just gone on TV wearing the underwear. Like, I would have been like, what's that? I'll buy some of those. Like, this just reads really corny, really cringy, and like a bad attempt at making people forget about the American Eagle. So I don't know. Not a fan of this at all. This marketing was like, ooh, guerrilla, marketing, at night. Not getting it.
And also, just like Tory, you're talking about read the room. This is why I always said people really miss the mark when you're anti-DEI, because diversity also means a diversity of opinions. Yeah, and you know what? If you had one friend in there that was like, I don't know, dog. Do you know how many people didn't get fired or divorced or arrested because they listened to famous diverse opinion story? I've told it a million times. Our old co-host Brandon was on a plane going to coach his Germany football league the day that the lockdowns were starting. Brandon London, my homie, was on the plane, bags in the overhead. I called. I am a diverse opinion. And I said, I don't think you should do that. Something weird is happening. I don't want you to get stuck in Europe. And I heard, the next thing I heard was the flight attendant off his phone going, are you getting off the plane? And he goes, yes.
Yeah, he got off the plane.
Think about the fork in the road of his life.
Yeah.
He'd have been stuck over there for 6 months.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need other people there to be like, yo, I see what you're doing. Instead of what I would have done to make people forget about the genes thing and how it was compared to eugenics is like make a parody off that, but like make it funny, make it tongue in cheek. Like, I understand I kind of messed up and I'm asking for public forgiveness. There are ad campaigns that are like that. They're advertising companies that focus on bringing people back into the fold.
Yeah, from the PR nightmare.
Yeah.
And
she's like, people that earn their whole living doing that.
Yeah. And I call it the SNL method. If you go make fun of yourself, instantly America forgives much quicker. But like, hand her the bra, give her the bra. Oh, ooh. Like, I can just picture everybody like this.
Yeah. People are out of work, Sydney.
Yeah, they can't afford eggs. And they're getting shot
much less can't afford to buy a bunch of brand new bras and throw them on structures.
Yeah.
Like it's such a weird it'd be like if she got a bunch of cakes and she was like, what if we ran and stomped on all these? Isn't that funny? And people were like, I would have eaten that.
Yeah, I know.
What are you doing?
I don't think she needs to hire someone that's actually funny. This wasn't, and it didn't go over well. Now, maybe it'll be a big hit. I don't know, but this ad campaign did not go well for me.
All right. Well, Tory, let's keep talking about famous people, because Paris Hilton had something interesting. And honestly, normally we don't talk a lot of Paris Hilton on here, but she did come out and say that she has ADHD. Did she also come out? Yes, that's what we're gonna talk about now.
Yeah.
Tory, tell everybody what RSD is. Because I thought that was the icon. I thought that was like respiratory something syndrome.
That's RSV.
Oh, okay.
That's the virus. RSD, I actually didn't really know about, but I definitely feel like
it's not an actual medical diagnosis, so that's why.
Yeah. I kind of find myself under this category, actually. It's called rejection sensitive dysphoria. And it stems from early childhood trauma, neglect, or abuse. And it creates these extreme reactions like rage, shame, or withdrawal. And it is trauma-based. And it's an emotional response that feel almost like physical wounds. And this is, Paris has been very open that she was sent to a boarding school and her mother did not know, but in that boarding school, she suffered from abuse, alleged abuse, and didn't know who to go to and how to get help. And she has caused a lot of PTSD, that has caused RSD for her. And look, we can all make fun of Paris Hilton. She comes across a little, blonde and ditzy. A lot of that is as a defense, it being defensive, but I applaud her for coming out and saying what happened in those boarding schools. And she's trying to get those boarding schools taken down. She's also letting people know about her mental health. I never will fault someone for trying to be open about that and for teaching people more about ADHD. I'm not down for making fun of her because of her persona when she's trying to break a stigma that I am also.
Yeah. And
that I suffer from.
We'll talk about RSD in a second, but I had this thought this past weekend, and you kind of brought it up, and I want to throw it at you because you are my smart friend. Are we sure that the parents don't know what they're sending their kids to? And I know that that's very dark.
No, I think some of the parents absolutely do. Kathy Hilton had no idea. And if you've ever seen one scene of Kathy Hilton, I 100% believe she had no clue. Now, Paris didn't even tell her she had a baby. And so that's how the trust between mom and daughter are. She showed up with a baby and she had no idea. Kathy had no idea that she was pregnant, that she was giving birth, all these things. So the distrust between mother and daughter is there. And again, C-Dog is saying she's got resources to handle it. Even if you're rich and you go through trauma, that's trauma. I don't put rich people down or famous people down. If they've suffered, that's still, I don't think money takes the pain away in that way. Like when Kim Kardashian was ball gagged and duct taped and put in a bathtub when she was robbed and thought she was like, now I get raped and killed. Like, I don't laugh at that. That's a real traumatic experience. And so even though she's rich and has resources and can do all that, I agree. I still have empathy for that person.
Yeah. What I was saying was like, I'm not accusing Kathy Hilton.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was a surrogate. She wasn't ever pregnant. I'm sorry. You're absolutely right. I'm so sorry.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. But I find it very hard to believe as a parent that when you say, I'm going to, because I actually know a guy, remember that there's a documentary on Netflix right now called Hell Camp, where I guess like in the, I don't know, I guess it must have been late 2000s. If you were a bad kid, what they would do is they would, like, your parents would hire
people to come and get you?
Yeah, they would get you out of your bed at like 3 in the morning, like two like ex-Marines, and they take you, like they said, some kids died because they had them marching up and down like hills in the desert. And then when one kid fell out, they were like, we didn't realize the closest hospital is 6.5 hours away. When you are doing that, we know somebody that has been to one of those schools, and somebody that I know that went to that exact same school, and we saw the damage and how that manifested itself during the course of me knowing them.
That's right.
So are you telling me in a world where we can figure everything out, in a world where we can figure out how to teach chimpanzees sign language, we don't know what those camps are for? Where do you even go to apply for that job, Tory?
Well, they come to you.
Do any of your friends? No. I'm talking about to be a guard at one of those Paris Hilton facilities, because only somebody that is saying, I want access to 13 to 16-year-old girls that have been accused of crime, so therefore have no validity in the eyes of the public. So when they say that I did something, I'd be like, shut up, she lied, she stole a car. All of this comes back to the fact that we have a major problem in this country that nobody talks about. It's in every documentary. Oh yeah, she went away to camp and things happened. Oh yeah, she went away to conversion camp and things happened. Oh, she went to college and the university covered it up. Remember when that young lady was assaulted and the judge let the kid go and said there's a good future ahead of him? There's something very sinister about what goes on with young women in this country, and it takes different forms, but it's the same thing. And I think the manifestation of it is we go, well, she was quiet last year, now she's really promiscuous. How'd that happen? Jack,
why the big change?
Big change? It must have been a wild summer, huh?
Yeah,
it's just like I just think that there is a lot of young people of every gender that are left exposed and in these programs, and anybody that knows that these kids are in these programs, these kids don't have an effing chance. because
yeah.
they're kids that are already considered dregs of society.
Right. So who's going to listen to them? Michael Dean just said that he was essayed at summer camp. I'm so sorry, Michael Dean. I went to an all-girls Jewish summer camp, which was, this really ritzy summer camp. And I know 2 girls that were essayed at summer camp because we had male counselors. What male counselor who wants to be around like 9 to 15-year-old girls, just like you said? So, and my parents were outraged, but and they did their due diligence and all that, and even that happened. So,
Due diligence, get out of here.
well, it's just like
You know what's going on. You're running a business, Jack. You telling me if you ran a bar, you would know if 2 of the bartenders were selling drugs out the back or skimming off the top of your register? They know how to weigh the bottles. They know how to check the records. People know how to manage things that they give an F about. And for whatever reason, there are certain children that are offered up. Some are in the way that the Epstein girls were offered up, and that those were poor girls from that community that needed money. And there's a way that works. It's the same way he did it, same way that pimps do it. You find a broken woman and you take advantage of her, or a woman that does not have an outlet to say what's going on. Not just like as Michael Dean. I don't want you to think that just washed over me. I just think when things get me really angry, I'd like to stay on task, because the way that we allow children to be continuously attacked is it's disgusting to me. All right, Tory, we got to end on something fun. Let me tell you guys what something fun is. Let me tell you the list of possible stories. Doomsday clock. Or, we can talk about, have you tried to use TikTok, girl?
No.
Yeah. I guess the big switchover happened today. And let me pull it up. But all I've been seeing weirdly on my YouTube feed is people on TikTok saying that some people one guy that had 1,000,001 followers, his account was permanently deleted.
Oh yeah, I keep seeing people with this issue. Yeah.
Right. People are saying that their For You page. I'll just read this really quick. It says, TikTok is undergoing a massive and somewhat chaotic transition as of January 2026. If your feed feels broken or different, you're not alone. Most changes users are seeing right now stem from the platform's forced migration to US-based servers to avoid a ban. And I just think that's a way of, once again, Tory, shutting down an outlet that was not favorable to certain political voices. Twitter used to make fun of Elon. Twitter's gone. It's X now, and it's a waterbed for Nazis.
Yeah.
TikTok was for young progressive people. Now your account's gone. Facebook, what's his name, bent the knee, Zuckerberg. And, all we have is good old-fashioned YouTube, which we love. I don't know who owns it. I don't even want to ask. I just hope this is the last outlet. They took all our TV stations. There's a reason we're on this. How'd that happen? #1 in the ratings. Interesting. You can see the seizing of the narrative, Tory.
Yeah. And
it's
the resources.
Working.
Yeah.
The resources. Yeah.
You start to see that all your outlets where you're allowed to tell the truth, where you can have a camera and show live footage of something, those get smaller and smaller and smaller as they want their truth to come from one spot only. It's almost like back in the day when you took down newspapers or you took down comedians and you ended the truth telling. That's sort of what this is like. But TikTok
do you mean like Seth Meyers having his career called for by Trump and Stephen Colbert being canceled?
Kimmel getting
exactly. You mean like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's when George Carlin and Richard Pryor, and back in the day, those people were sort of outlawed, and because they were telling the truth, and that's what we have comedians for, and that's the whole point of a diverse opinion, like you were talking about earlier.
And just to put a very fine point on it, it's also like what you don't see in terms of like voices you might be looking to hear. It's who you do see, because I'll just say this: a lot of the people that have really big podcasts, like I knew them for years, a decade or so. And nobody was ever saying Mr. X is a supremely talented person and needs to speak to the country. I just think certain platforms were elevated. And if you think about the platforms that were elevated and their level of discernment, for topics, their level of acceptance for narratives. I just think you should ask yourself, when was the last time this person said something funny?
I think I know who you're talking about.
What's your favorite joke?
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about.
What's your favorite joke? And because like with Carlin, you could do, 7 things you can't say on TV. I need a place for my stuff. Richard Pryor live at the Sunset Theater. Dave Chappelle. Everybody. I love the garbage, the Oscar the Grouch bit in Killing Them Softly. There's a ton of like you should be able. Your best Chris Rock. The OJ bit. I'm not saying he should have killed her, but I understand. Like edgy.
Yeah.
But it was like comics by their jokes.
Yeah.
Why don't you know your favorite comics jokes?
Yeah. You just know their political leanings. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
That's interesting.
It is. And yeah, YouTube is part of Google, I believe.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
So is Google cool?
I'm hoping. I'm not looking. I hope.
I know.
Google's
I just
cool.
like keep your head down, Google. Do
Yeah,
not
I'm
answer
like,
your
no.
phone. Do not exit your phone. So yeah, it's just like y'all are gonna come on to Friends from Work. There's gonna be a big red question mark. Like now, who's running their mouth, buddy? Going over to X and let them have at you and your co-host. I think on X, you and I would be like chum in the water. Hey, we're a black guy and a Jewish woman, and we're here to talk to you about the issues. I think some of them would explode. They'd be like, this is what we've been waiting for.
It's like what Justin Bieber said. Immediately now. Immediately now. It's an immediate.
That's a hard pass.
Yeah.
But it's not a hard pass, Tory. This show, I love doing it with you. I love you and Michael Dean. I love you and thank you for being so forthright and honest about what's going on. Because talking about difficult stuff sucks, but it's good to get it up and out and hopefully help somebody else coming behind us. So with that said, Michael Dean, I love you, colleagues. I love y'all. Tory, you are okay. And for everybody else, we will see you soon. Love y'all. We out of here. And Tory, I love you.